Welcome back. An appeals court ruled that the city of San Diego's controversial crackdown on public beach yoga classes is unconstitutional. 2 yoga teachers sued the city over the ban when it went into place last year. The city approved an update to laws to regulating activities on the beach, like food vendors, but that change included adding events like luxury picnics and yoga classes. The ruling says that teaching yoga is speech protected by the First Amendment, and the city did not prove the classes threaten public safety or the enjoyment of shoreline parks. Joining us now with a legal aspect and perspective on this to discuss this further about the court decision from the Lawyer in Blue Jeans Group is Justin Isaac. Thank you, Justin, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. Why is this so controversial? You know, that's really what I think initially when you see the story, it's like, what's the big deal?
That's a great question. That's what they were basically successful in their lawsuit on too, was that this ordinance in general actually narrowly affected mainly just yoga. It wasn't just a broader public safety thing, and they didn't demonstrate that how this would actually affect public safety. So the court said, no, this ban doesn't work for us. We are rejecting this notion that public safety is threatened by having yoga, of all things, on a grassy area. So and it didn't ban other things that were very similar to yoga, other types of gatherings too, like Tai Chi. So how can you say that one is effective but the other is not? So that's why the court rejected it as a whole. But there's a lot of speculation. Okay. Yoga studios were not making as much money, and people are going to free yoga. Yeah. Some other people said that the kind of richer residents of these neighborhoods were not happy with their view. They wanted to see the ocean. They don't want to see a bunch of people exercising. But that's kind of what everyone does at the ocean anyways, and on the shore. So I don't know. I never understood what the big deal was.
I feel like it's hard to put yourself in the shoes of those who are upset if you don't understand, and maybe if these are the residents who live near the beach who are frustrated with these yoga sessions taking place near their homes. I would think almost it's the parking that's the issue, like parked cars that would kind of block their views, so to speak. So maybe it's more all-encompassing.
But when you go to the beach, you know that parking is going to be tough. When you go to the beach, you know people are going to be exercising, jogging. That's what the boardwalk mainly is about people being able to run along the ocean. So I think that I would struggle with that argument for the more against the residents. When it comes to the ban, the ordinance ban, the public safety ban, or reasoning, I guess you could say, I just don't buy it either, because they're very spread out. They're in a park. What immediate access would be needed at that point, and why would that be such a threat to public safety? And the courts agreed that it just doesn't make sense. This rule and ordinance didn't actually provide any reasoning whatsoever for how public safety would be affected. So it falls on its face right there, because when we're creating laws that attack speech, like yoga is, it is free speech, free assembly as well, and right to practice religion, because it has a religious aspect to it too, in its origins. You need to be very specifically, narrowly tailored in order for it to pass strict scrutiny when it comes to a constitutional aspect. So I think that they didn't prove that, and that's what the court said too, and so they got rejected essentially, and now we're going to see what the city does next, because they're still evaluating.
Sure. I think too, I wonder if it became more popular during COVID to have those classes outside. And so I wonder if there was kind of this slow build into seeing more exercise classes outside, and then people just really enjoyed it. So I wonder if there was kind of this build up to what we're seeing now, 5 years after, COVID started. Yeah,
I mean, Fit does their yoga at the Rady Shell, and that's very popular too, but it's a controlled area. Yes. But I think that if the city would have a better argument if they were doing yoga in the middle of Mission Avenue, right, on the street, and blocking traffic and whatnot. But if you're in a park away from the boardwalk, it doesn't block the access way. It's really hard for me to imagine how that could be a public safety issue. If it was spilling over into the access way, maybe a little bit different. But when it comes to just people exercising outside and having a yoga class that's donation, how could we classify this person as a vendor if they're not necessarily making money off this? It's not a commercial activity. They are just saying, hey, we're going to practice yoga. If you want to join us, join us.
Yeah.
That's it. So.
Yeah. I think there's a number of factors that make it very safe. It's peaceful, it's quiet. It's not like a concert's being, they're not having like a drum circle, you know, at the beach or something. Like, I'm trying to think of the other reasons that people might be like, hey, this has got to stop.
I never saw a riot break out after a yoga session.
No.
Usually they're the ones who are pretty calm, pretty peaceful. So.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here. It was so nice to have you.
Well, thank you for having me.